It's time for this week's episode of Brandon Sports Talk, featuring in-depth interviews from those who are trending in the world of athletics. And now, here's the host of Brandon Sports Talk, Brandon Pate.
Welcome back to Brandon Sports Talk. In today's episode, I have the privilege to interview the Drury assistant women's soccer coach, Melissa Kuhar. How are you doing today?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm doing good. Can you talk about how you knew that you wanted to get started in coaching in college women's soccer?
Yeah, so when I was a college athlete, played 4 years at the D1 and D2 level, and I fell in love with the game. I had some really good coaches growing up and some really bad ones. So in my life, I decided, I want to be able to positively impact athletes. I love the sport, wanted to stay around that, and then the chance to, help kids grow. That's kind of why I got into it. And, I'm going on, year 7 of being a college coach, and I wouldn't change anything about it. So,
Of course, what was it like getting to play for St. Joseph's?
yeah, so I played at St. Joseph's College, a small D2 in Indiana, which isn't open anymore. It actually closed down right after I graduated. But our team wasn't great, but the culture and the people at that college, that's what made it a good experience. I actually, prior to going to St. Joe, played at Western Illinois for a year, and then I quit soccer altogether. It was never going to play again in my life. Was never going to coach, never going to do anything. I really thought soccer was the reason I was not having a great time, but realized it was some coaching situations. And then I kind of fell upon St. Joe, and I wouldn't change those 3 years for anything. That was 3 of my best years, regardless of if soccer was good or bad. We weren't a great team. We didn't win a lot of games, but I enjoyed my time and I had success. I personally felt like I played well, and that's kind of all that matters. And then that is what kind of got me into coaching. So, that's it, all worked out in the end.
Of course, as you said, what was it like going from Western Illinois to then having soccer taken away for you for a year or so, and then coming back to St. Joseph?
Yeah, it was definitely kind of a roller coaster. I went in as I had a pretty successful high school career, won a state title back in Indiana where I'm from, but going into Western, I redshirted. I was a fifth year, or I was a freshman. There were, fifth year seniors. So it was a very hard adjustment from going from being, the starter and all that as a goalkeeper to then kind of having soccer. I fell out of love with soccer, something I played since I was 4. And I made that decision when I got home in the summer that I was done with it, that I wasn't going to play. I was going to just go to the community college back home, get my gen eds done and then figure it out from there, living at home in my parents' house and, where I grew up. But then, I had a high school coach that, I knew since I was little that, asked me to come out and just kind of hang out with the high school team, my alma mater back home. And that's kind of what made me fall back in love with soccer, made me realize, it wasn't soccer that was a problem. It was just the situation I was in, and it was different. And I was, trying to adapt, figure out some mental health stuff and figure out who I was as a person. And then, St. Joe's where my dad went. And so it was just kind of that legacy. I was, a legacy student and went for a visit, just thinking, okay, I'll give it a try. And then, it all kind of worked out in the end. It just felt like home there. And I kind of regret not looking there in the start of my recruiting process. I was not the brightest high schooler in the recruiting process. I had a very, one track mind to a D1, and instead of even looking at D2s, which, obviously I'm coaching at one now. So I would say D2 is kind of the right fit for me, and it all worked out. So
Of course, was it like putting on that St. Joseph jersey and feeling at home after you said, obviously, your dad went there?
yeah, no, it was really cool. It's tough when you're on campus and everyone knows your last name and they know who you are because you've had family members there. They'd always ask, my uncle went there as well, and they'd be like, oh, how do you know this person? But, putting on that jersey, just the atmosphere and the environment that St. Joe was, like, I can very confidently say, like, it was a home to me. So getting that chance to put on that jersey and getting the chance to to go out and play and compete every fall was huge. I mean, it means a lot to me, and now especially since my college is no longer there. I mean, they closed down in 2016, 17, I think, around that time. But yeah, I miss those days, that's for sure. I miss putting on a jersey and playing. My body doesn't miss it. uh, I played my 5th year. I was 23 years old playing, and it was tough on my body, but there's no words to describe how it feels to just put on your college jersey and go out and play.
What were some of your college accomplishments on the playing side during your career?
Yeah, like I mentioned, our team didn't win a lot of games, which, as a competitor, that was not fun. But, for me, I always went out and I wanted to give my best. So my growth from my first year at St. Joe to my last, I would say is my biggest accomplishment. Not only, on the field, but my confidence, just my ability to be a leader, to encourage, my 5th year, we had almost 16 freshmen on the team. So just being able to be that leader was huge for me. I was forced to make a lot of saves in college as a goalkeeper. So I think I think I led the GLVC in saves one year, which isn't a great accomplishment because it means I'm having to do a lot of work. But I mean, it just that, I think my biggest accomplishment is my leadership, and that's kind of carried into coaching.
Of course, how was it like after your college career getting into coaching and coaching at St. Joseph's High School?
Yeah. So yeah, my process into college coaching was a little different. I definitely have experience at multiple high schools. I've coached like club soccer. The transition from like where I started at Bethany College, my coaching career after I graduated, in between there, I worked at St. Joe, which was my alma mater. It was great going back. A lot of the girls watched me when I was playing, when they were younger. So it was kind of a cool, I almost had like that big sister vibe, and was able to go back and give my knowledge to them and make, my alma mater better. And they're pretty good. So it was nice to kind of, that be my first kind of like step into the coaching world. It's nice to have success when you're a coach, for sure.
How is that like getting your first college coaching job at Bethany College?
Yeah, so like I mentioned, my college had closed. St. Joe had closed, St. Joe College. And the head coach that was there that coached me for a year, he knew I wanted to get into coaching. And so when he was out of a job because the school closed, he took that job at Bethany as the head coach. I was one of, his first phone calls of, hey, you want to move to the middle of Kansas and coach soccer. And I, without it, I had to figure out some logistics to it, but I was very quick to be like, yes, I will do it. That's my foot in the door into the college coaching world, which sometimes can be tough to get into. And so it was, it was awesome. I obviously, middle of Kansas was a different experience for me. I grew up in South Bend, Indiana, big college town, but it was fun. It was a different perspective. I had played at the D1, D2 level. This was an NAIA. It was a whole different world, recruiting girls all the way from California and, all over the country to try to come to Kansas was something that made my recruiting skills a little sharper too, because it's tough. But yeah, I mean, I wouldn't change my Bethany experience. It was definitely a good growing period for my coaching career, for sure.
Of course, what was it like getting the opportunity to coach alongside your head coach, your former head coach, and learn from him?
Yeah, so we're going on, I believe it's year 6 or 7 coaching together. So I'm here at Drury with him as well. And when he took this job, he brought me along. Our players kind of always joke that we're like a married couple. We bicker and we argue, but we're also best friends. I would not change anything. He's been, that big brother figure to me. I've cried in front of him. I've, had some of our best moments together. It's an awesome experience. I mean, I always joke, I did not like him when he was my coach. We butted heads a bit, and he knows that. We grew so much, and him giving me the chance to get into the college coaching world has been the best thing that's happened to me. My desk is 2 feet from him, and I see him every day, and I go over to his house and watch The Bachelor with his wife. Like he's part of my family and I'm part of his, and I, as long as I can coach with him, I'm going to coach with him because we just make a good duo, I think.
How was it like going to Greenwood High School and getting to coach high school soccer?
Yeah, so I took over Greenwood last year before the season. Greenwood's a very tiny school here in Springfield. It's under 100 enrollment for the high school. It's a very tiny Class 1 school. I just took it over because I wanted to spread my love for soccer. That was really simply why I did the job. I love the game. I love showing, my passion for the game and giving it to other people. And if I can do that at a lot of different levels, awesome. So I took that program over, not knowing much about the program, knowing, I knew that they weren't the greatest. They had a small school, but my whole thing going into that was I just wanted to have fun. I just wanted it to be, obviously the grind of college athletics is pretty tough, but I wanted to kind of have like a little outlet to have fun myself, but also, have let girls have fun and enjoy a sport that I love. So I took over that program not really knowing what I was getting into, but it ended up being a very successful year for us. I took them to, myself, and I have 2 assistants that are Drury athletes. They're on my Drury team here. And then, random other Drury girls that come out and hang out with us. But, I took that program to the 3rd place finish in the state of Missouri. The most wins ever, I think, in program history. I think we had, the last winning season was 2012. So the first ever Final Four. Those are obviously things I didn't do alone, but it definitely shows that, like, if you just care a little bit about kids and you give them some confidence, they can do something good.
Of course, how is it like balancing, obviously, as you said, being the head coach of a high school team, but also being an assistant coach on the college level?
It's a crazy, hectic schedule. I couldn't do it without the support of, Justin here, the head coach at Drury. I obviously talked to him before I took the job, but it's a lot. It's, I go from 3 to 5:30-ish at Greenwood, drive straight over to Drury and have practice at 6 o'clock and go to 8. And then I'm home. And I do it every day, Monday through Friday. It's a lot, but I wouldn't change it. I like being busy. I like being around soccer. That's the career I chose. I love it. So I would not change it for anything, but it's hectic. It's crazy.
What's it like for you to come to Drury and become the assistant soccer coach for the women's program?
Yeah. So like I mentioned, I played in the GLVC, which is where Drury, what conference we're in. And so I've played on that Drury field that I now get to coach on. Drury was always that school that, they have great facilities and different things like that. So when the head coach just took this job and asked me to go with him to keep our duo alive, I didn't even question it. I wanted to be here. This was a step up in my career. I'm going from an NAIA school to a D2. It was a chance for me to get back to kind of a little comfort zone in the GLVC, somewhere where I'd played for 3 seasons. So, I didn't bat an eye at it. I was like, yes, 100%, I'm there. That COVID kind of took a little bit of a presence in my hiring process to get here. It was a journey, but I'm here now, and that's kind of all that matters. And our program's having success. So that makes me feel good too.
Of course, how has that been? Like, obviously, as you said, you played on that field as a player, but now you get to coach on that field as a coach. How is that like, coaching on that field as a coach, knowing about your playing career there?
Yeah, it's funny. I made one of my favorite saves as a college athlete on the Drury field. It's fun sometimes to kind of reminisce on the games that I played on that field against Drury when I was an athlete. But now, it's making those new memories as a coach. We got the chance to play our conference championship game, on that field and win a GLVC championship. That, the adding the coaching memories to that field, it makes it even more special. Yeah, it's fun, and even the little small, goofing around memories at practice, those, adding all that, it makes that field special for sure.
Who are some of the teams that you face each week in your conference?
Yeah, so our conference is pretty big. We have McKendree in our conference, which is one of our big rivals. University of Indianapolis, which is another tough game for us, but from top to bottom, we have Southwest Baptist, William Jewell, Maryville, those teams. Our GLVC conference is hard on the women's side for soccer. We, top to bottom, the games are very close games. You could have the lowest ranking team in the standings beat the top team any given weekend. Our girls have to come out to play, and Friday, Sunday games are tough on their bodies. But yeah, it's our conference is pretty strong, probably one of the best in the Division II level for sure.
Of course, can you talk about the culture that you've helped build for Drury?
Yeah, so when the head coach and I took over, the previous 3 seasons, they struggled a bit. You go back to 2018, they didn't win a single game. So that's obviously why kind of the coaching change occurred. The head coach and I, came in, and we didn't know what to expect at first. When you have a losing program, you think, you might have a lot of drama and issues. When we came in, it wasn't so much that they had so much drive to want to win games, and they had that passion, and they had talent. They were good. Coach Justin and I, how we kind of roll is we like to have fun. We like to joke around. We like to entertain ourselves almost. We like to have that kind of personality in the office, but we're also very serious and big competitors. So we had to kind of mix, that having fun, but also bringing a winning culture. From top to bottom, we wanted our girls to really buy into, you guys are good enough. You need have confidence. You will do fine. Enjoy the off the field stuff. Enjoy being around each other. When we get on the field, compete with each other. And that kind of was the switch. We brought in a huge junior class. That definitely kind of helped our program, but the core of our program was still super solid and super, competitive. And it just kind of all kind of came together. Our biggest thing was, no matter anyone's role on the team, they all bought into the success of the team. So from the girls that play 90 minutes to the girls that play 0 minutes and sit on the bench to the people that don't travel, everyone cared about the success of the program. And that's created, from going from 2018 to not winning a game to 2021 and winning the conference championship. I mean, that's that quick of a change. And it shows, if you care about your athletes, they're going to have success too. So.
What does a typical game day look like for Drury College?
Yeah, so our girls get in, about 2 hours before game day or before games start. Get in the locker room. Our locker room is loud and obnoxious. They are dancing, the music's blaring. You have some girls really focused, but they get in there. We do a kind of a team talk, right? About 15 minutes before we go out to the field, but and then they kind of get right back to dancing and going crazy and blaring the music. Then we kind of go out to the field. Our model and how we kind of do things is we go out to the field, and the girls kind of have free time. They can knock a ball around, they can chat, they can get kind of the nerves settled in. You're on your game field, you're hanging out, and then we go warm up about 45 minutes before, and it remains hype. Our music for warm-ups, the girls are going cheering for each other, just high energy. And then we go into games starting. I think something unique and something our girls take a lot of pride in is our bench and how crazy and obnoxious they are in a good way. They are cheering super loud. If we score a goal, they go crazy. We have some very funny and entertaining celebrations on our bench. Girls dancing, a girl jumping up off of the bench and accidentally falling off the bench. Just funny things. We have a camera that watches our games and films it, but it also can see what the bench is doing, and they will show off for the bench to make it funny for a little highlight reel. But the energy our bench brings energy to the field. So it's, even the girls that aren't playing a lot, they're tired after a game because they've, cheered and really brought energy. But, the head coach and I, we are ultimate competitors. We're feisty. Our team is the same way. We always joke that we're a blue collar team where we work hard, and we really just bring energy, and it's nonstop from top to bottom of our roster. But yeah, I mean, typical game day hopefully ends with a win. And then, we took a little, the head coach is a Bears fan. So he took club dub from the Bears, the Chicago Bears. And we do club dub in our locker room or our bus after a game. So a big dance party and a lot of screaming after a game for sure when we win. So.
Of course, what are some of your game day traditions and routines that y'all do?
Yeah, so the girls kind of have their own. I don't really know many of the girls' kind of little things. I know they always warm up in the same line before a game and before practice. They're very, very superstitious. The head coach and I are very superstitious as well. We each have kind of our own way of going about things. When we, last year when we started having a lot of success and winning a lot of games, it was funny. we always had to wear the same pair of shorts, the same shirt, the same hoodie, because we didn't want to screw things up, which in reality, that had nothing to do with our success, but in our minds, we thought it did. So yeah, I was doing laundry on a Saturday to make sure I had the same shorts clean for the Sunday game. So yeah, no, it's just little superstitions. I was the same way as an athlete. I did weird little things, but yeah, no, that's the girls have, their locker room craziness that they do.
What does the recruitment process look like for those prospective student athletes looking to come to Drury?
Yeah, so for us, it's we go out to a lot of ID camps, we go out to a lot of events, a lot of local high school games, and we identify girls, and it's reaching out to them and getting them on a phone call. We just want to kind of talk to them and let them know about our program, about our process. We kind of recruit about 2 years out. Right now we're recruiting girls for our 2024 class, so it's college athletics in the recruiting world is pretty crazy and hardcore, but it's watching girls film, answering emails. We get lots of them every day, and it's just kind of making that connection via phone, whether it's obviously our initial phone conversation, whether it's a FaceTime call, or texting them about our games. It's just really staying connected and wanting the girls to see us as human beings, not just college coaches. And that's for us, and then we bring them to campus, and they kind of get a red carpet treatment here and get to hang out with our team, because that our team's the ultimate say. If our team doesn't really like a recruit, we're not going to bring them in, because our culture is so strong. We don't want to ruin that. So we want to bring in good kids on the front end, so we have success kind of on the back end.
Of course, what does the official visit look like for those prospective student athletes coming to Drury?
Yeah, so girls will come here. They obviously go through the whole academic side of things, the admissions tour, and they meet with professors. They do kind of all that stuff. Typically, we like to bring girls in on a game day or a weekend that is a game's going to happen, so that they can see our team play. And they can see how crazy our bench is. They can see the locker room culture. But yeah, it's very much, that we do the admission, we meet with these athletes and their parents, then we kind of hand them off to our team. And we say, okay, go spend the night with some of our girls, go hang out with the team and see what they're like. Because if a prospective athlete doesn't enjoy our team or doesn't like the culture of our team, then it's not technically a good fit. But and vice versa, if our team doesn't kind of vibe with them and doesn't think they're good for our team, then that's kind of where we go. And luckily at the Division II level, we also can do they call them tryouts, so it's practicing with our team. So these prospective athletes can come and train with our program at a practice and really actually get to experience what it's like to be a Drury athlete. And then of course, if there's a game, they get to go see the game and really see how we play.
Of course, what is it like getting to see those prospective student athletes get to put on that red Drury jersey and fall in love with the color red?
Yeah, no, for sure. It's cool. So, a lot of, we have a small freshman class right now, only 4 girls, and 2 of them I was very involved in that recruiting process with them. I was that initial phone call that reached out to them. And so it's cool. We had a scrimmage last night, and one of the freshmen got to play. One of the freshmen I really heavily recruited and brought to our program got to play in her first college, game against a really good competition. And for me to see that, it's that full circle moment. It's that, it's really cool to know that I reached out to her initially. I wanted her to come to Drury and experience it. And then she did get to experience. She got to put on that jersey and she played really well. And so that's a cool kind of full circle moment as a coach. All the hard work in recruiting kind of coming to an end and kind of that putting on that jersey and then playing. Really cool.
What advice would you give those prospective student athletes that are in high school looking to play college soccer?
Yeah, I mean, my biggest thing, and I say this to my Greenwood girls that I coach, is, have confidence in yourself and believe in your ability. Because that's the biggest thing. To the college soccer, college sports in general are hard to do. It's not easy. It's mentally and physically draining at times. So if you have confidence in yourself and you believe in yourself, it makes it way easier to do college sports. I always say, you need to find the right fit for where you are. If you find a place that feels like home, then that's where you need to be. But it's just putting your name out there, emailing coaches, going to events that are going to showcase your ability. You will find a coach out there. There's a lot of schools that need players. There's a lot of spots open. It's just finding what fits you right, and having some confidence in that process.
What advice would you give those college soccer players looking to play professionally, whether it's the NWSL, overseas, or even internationally?
Yeah, I mean, it takes a lot of work. Some kids may think it's super easy, but in any profession you do, if you are a pro athlete, if you're a doctor, if you're a college soccer coach, it takes a lot of work to get there, and you just have to grind. The players that are playing in the NWSL are playing overseas. Like, the amount of work they've put in is absolutely crazy. They make sacrifices. They don't go to different things. They don't go to maybe a prom when you're in high school. They don't go hang out with friends every Friday. Instead, they're practicing. Instead, they're doing different things. I mean, it's a grind. It's not easy, but if you love the sport you're doing, and if you love the atmosphere that sport brings, then you could do it. It's not impossible, that's for sure.
What advice would you give people such as yourself that were coaching in high school and made that jump from high school to college coaching?
Yeah, I mean, it's the coaching world's a lot of connections, but it's who that can kind of help you get to places, but it's also what connections you're making. The coaching world is very small, so it's we all kind of know each other. We all see each other at events. So it's, presenting yourself in the best way if you are around someone that is in that college world of coaching. So it's, getting your license and doing different things, getting experience at any level, because that adds up and that helps get you a job. It's not easy. My first job, I was making $4,000. I wasn't making a lot of money when I first got hired. And it's, accepting that college sports isn't for the money, that you do it because you have the passion for it. And it's accepting that it's going to be a grind to get there. Just like a athlete that wants to be a professional or wants to, move on in their career and do things, you got to grind, you got to do it. The same, as a doctor, or it's the same as anything. It's a grind, it's a process, it's connections, putting yourself out there. That's what you got to do.
What advice would you give those assistant coaches looking to coach on the college level?
Yeah, I mean, you got to be willing to do anything and everything, and be willing to drop personal things to do whatever is needed of you. I spend long hours, doing laundry on my day off. But that's part of it, and that's what I do. And I know by doing it, it's making me a better person, and it's making me a better coach. It's putting in, if a 3 a.m. phone call from an athlete that, may be at the emergency room, that's what you got to do. It's the grind. It's really putting your whole heart into what you do. And that's how you're going to have success, and that's how you're going to love what you're doing. And I think I've kind of accomplished that, and I hope to keep doing that. So
that's great advice. Where can my listeners find you at on social media, along with the Drury women's soccer program?
Yeah, so I am on Twitter. I think my username's mkuhar01, I believe. And then obviously, our Drury program, if you search Drury, like women's soccer, we'll pop up for sure. Our social media is run by some of the players, so it's definitely entertaining. They have fun with it. And then obviously our Drury athletics website has, all the contact information for the head coach and myself, and our game schedules and all that fun stuff. But definitely, we have a TikTok, Instagram, and a Twitter for our team, and they absolutely love that. The players love putting stuff on that for sure.
Thank you again, Coach Melissa Kuhar, for your interview, and best of luck in your future at Drury for the women's soccer program.
Thank you.
You can find Brandon Sports Talk on Facebook at Brandon Sports Talk, Instagram at Brandon Sports Talk, Twitter at Talk_Brandon, and you can find me on YouTube at Brandon Sports Talk. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. Thank you again, Melissa Kuhar, for your interview, and best of luck in your future.
Thank you.
You've been watching Brandon Sports Talk. Please feel free to like, share, and subscribe to Brandon Sports Talk on social media and on YouTube.